The first thing you have to think about when you're creating a social media strategy is, what am I doing it for? Am I doing it to create sales? Am I doing it to build brand? Am I doing it to build a community? Why am I online? Why is my brand or business online? That's the first question you have to ask yourself. And then you'll be able to craft strategies that make sense for you. But I'm about to share 3 strategies with you that people really don't talk about because they don't want you to win the way that they're winning. They'll tell you everything else but these 3. And they seem so simple, but they're actually really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Come let me teach you a lesson. Come let me teach you a lesson. Level line with the tweets. Follow me back to my nest. Level line with the podcast. Teach you lesson cause I got class. Level line with the impact. You be lying, that's a real fact. Come let me teach you a lesson. Come let me teach you a lesson. Level line with the tweets. Follow me back to my nest.
Hi, tribe. Welcome to the Lebo Lion Show, where we talk all things marketing, brand building, business, mindset, and sometimes pop culture. I'm your host, Lebo Lion, known as the voice of marketing, and I'm really excited to be here today for this jam-packed episode. Trust me when I tell you, if you are an entrepreneur or somebody who's using social media to improve their lives, you want to be listening to this specific episode because I'll be sharing 3 strategies for social media success. We all know this by now. If you're not on social media, you do not exist. So you need to have some component of anything you're building on social media, and you need to have successful strategies that are going to work in your favor and in the favor of the future of the thing that you are building. So I cannot wait to get into this. In fact, we need to do it the right way. And you know how I do, right? I start with definitions because we all have to be on the same page. So many of us think we know what social media is because we all use it. But do we actually know what social media is? Did you know that there are over 5.24 billion people in the world using social media? And that equates to about 62.9% of the world's total population. That's a lot of people, and it's rising year on year. So very soon, almost everybody in the world will be online, which means if you are selling something, if you're looking for something, if you're growing something, you want to be on the online space because the world is there. But what is social media when we understand these things? It's not just a play tool. It's not a tool that you just use to watch funny videos and entertain yourself when you are bored at work. Social media is a powerful tool and it can do so many things. So what I did is I wrote a list of the things that social media is, and I want you at home to take out a pen and paper and do the same so that when you are crafting your social media strategy, you understand where it falls in the bigger scope of what social media is. Hi, tribe. This is a kind reminder to ask you to like, share, subscribe, and do the things that you need to do to get this podcast to reach the right people. We want to grow this community and elevate it to greater heights, and we need your help to do this. If you're not already subscribed to our newsletter, please click the link in our bio to subscribe so you can get all things marketing, brand building, and mindset in our weekly EIM newsletter. And don't forget to keep checking in our link when we have events and masterclasses. Enjoy the rest of the episode. So let's get into it. What is social media? Social media is firstly a marketplace. You guys have heard me say this thousands of times by now. Social media is a marketplace. It is a space where goods and services are moving and they're being traded and exchanged, right? So you want to be there if you are a business owner or somebody who's seeking something that they want to exchange or trade with somebody else. I think a lot of people get very confused about how social media is a marketplace. And it's actually very simple. Whenever I talk about the definition of marketing, I say the operative word here is market. And when I say market, people think about money, they think about the JSE. But when I say market, I actually mean people, right? The value of a market is defined and determined by the people in it. So when we say market share, we're saying how many people are evangelists and part of the stakeholder profile of a company. So when we say that social media is a marketplace, it is a place with many people. And those people have goods and services and other things that they'd like to exchange and share with other people. So it really is about that. It's a marketplace. And if you've got a business, you understand those dynamics. If you've got something to sell, you want to find a willing and buying customer. And that's what you're going to find on an online space. So the social media landscape as a marketplace is a place where there's a willing buyer and a willing seller. And if you have a business or anything else that you want to commercialize, it's the perfect place to be. In fact, before social media existed, we were already doing that in offline marketplaces. And now we have this really special opportunity to be able to do this. And we'll get to unpack that with all the things that social media is. The next thing that social media is a community building tool. And this is something that I'm very excited about because this is the cornerstone of brand building and creating influence, right? We want to build communities. A market is a community of people who have shared interests and desires and needs. And those things are fulfilled by the players in the industry, whether it's brands, organizations, other individuals, but that's what a community is. And the great thing about having a tool that allows you to build a community is that you get to essentially create what is an influence base or a customer base for yourself. And this allows you to control the market dynamics that happen around the things that you are offering the market. And this will help you grow your business, grow your interests, create meaningful networks, and build a life that you love. So when you think about influencers, for example, or creators, they probably use this the best. They build their communities, their followers online using social media. How else would you be able to tell what their influence is or the market that they penetrate without understanding those numbers? So social media being a community building tool is a very powerful thing. Back in the day, or in the olden days, before we had social media as a powerful tool that dominates commerce, people would fight for the market share. And it would only be people who had resources, who could own communities, who had the money to convince people to be part of their community. But what social media has done is that it's democratized access to the marketplace. So it's allowed individuals and not just organizations to have a piece of that pie and to influence human beings. And that's why influencers and creators are also such powerful tools to use in your marketing and business efforts because they own communities. They have shares of marketplaces and they can influence those markets to do certain things that help you achieve your bottom line. The next thing that social media is an amplification tool. And if you've been in this community for a very long time, you know that I speak about amplification all the time. And I think this is probably the most common use that people know of social media, that you use it to promote certain things. So if you are launching a product or you want to talk about something that you're busy with, you use social media to promote it. And unfortunately, people will usually use the term, I'm marketing my product, service, etc. on social media. You're not necessarily marketing it. You're definitely promoting it, which is part of the marketing value chain, but you're not marketing your product in its entirety simply by promotion. Social media is a very important amplification tool because of what it symbolizes in the market. Before social media was the influential powerhouse that it is now, what you would find is that the only people who would be able to amplify their products, services, and offerings in the market are people who have big budgets or money sources that they can tap into to be able to access traditional media platforms like your television, your radio, your billboards. And you all know, as budding entrepreneurs, as creators, that those platforms are incredibly expensive. And so what social media did is that it democratized access to amplification and promotion, allowing the average person to have a little bit of money on them and be able to compete for attention with companies that have 10, 20, 30 times the budgets that they do. And what we found, for example, with things like paid ads, is that you're finding individuals with smaller communities or smaller budgets really out competing big corporates because they understand how to speak to their communities and create brand copy and advertising copy that resonates with their prospective customers. So social media being an amplification tool is extremely important. Whether you are looking for a job and you're on LinkedIn, the fact that you have a LinkedIn profile is also you promoting yourself. You're amplifying yourself. You want the market to see you. You're making yourself visible. And that is the power. We've never been able to do this before in society, where every single individual can amplify themselves without needing the backing of a big corporate or a big budget to be able to compete in the marketplace with people in either higher levels, different countries, you name it. Now we can all participate, and that makes social media extremely powerful. The next thing that I think is also quite exciting that social media is that social media is a search engine. What is a search engine? It's basically a platform where you can go and search for the things that you're looking for. The most popular search engine that we know of right now is Google, right? It's a traditional search engine. You go, you type www.google.com, and then you type the thing that you're looking for. And now what's happened as people are starting to optimize the capacity of social media platforms is that they're starting to look for whatever information that they're seeking on social media platforms. In fact, Adobe released a report where they said that TikTok is the fourth biggest search engine tool for Gen Zs in 2024-2025. This means that Gen Zs are using TikTok to search for whatever they're looking for. And what does this do in terms of market dynamics? This changes sources of credibility. Now, people don't just trust website articles as a credible source of information. They trust anybody and any platform that they feel entertained by, or they feel seen by, or that they feel is worthy of their attention on any social media platform, right? So if I'm a creator, it doesn't even matter where I come from, what I do. If I'm creating content that people understand and resonate with, they will start to see me as a credible figure and an authority in the subject matter that I'm sharing. So it's actually changing the dynamics of thought leadership. People aren't as concerned anymore if somebody was a CEO or has a master's or a PhD. They just want to connect with people and will trust people who give them the information that they seek in the way that they want it. So don't underplay this idea that social media is a search engine. If you're a business person, then you want to make sure you're using the right hashtags, the right words that describe whatever you're selling in your captions, for example, because when somebody searches, your video will pop up if you've used the right words, the right keywords. But if you haven't, then you're going to fall down in the matrix of social media, and you don't want that. You want to be top of mind. You want to be seen. When somebody searches something that you do, you want to be one of the first 3, 4, 5 pages that pop up. So don't undermine this idea that social media is a search engine. And I believe that it's also going to challenge this idea of people needing websites for their businesses, right? Especially because social media companies are starting to become more sophisticated and are allowing us to facilitate payments on their platform. So what would the need of a website be when your entire community is already native to the platform? So just think about that. It's a game changer, and it's really going to influence how people interact in the future. The next thing that social media is a product testing tool. Now, I know this one sounds peculiar, but actually, this is one of the oldest ways we've been using social media, and we just haven't been aware of it. When you start a business, you don't necessarily have the big budgets that you need to be able to test your product in the market in a significant way. But what social media does is that it helps you to grow a community of people who have an interest in the thing that you're thinking of selling. And then it allows you to prototype whatever that you want to sell and then get a small group of people to test it without spending as much money as you would have had to do traditionally with offline resources. So you don't have to spend as much money trying to develop a product or making the mistakes that you're making in order to understand what your customers and your community want. This is powerful. It changes the game of entrepreneurship and it speeds up the process. The thing about having a relationship and a community online is that because your audience feels like a stakeholder in your business, they're very open and receptive to building the product with you. You no longer have to build something and then try to launch it to the market. You can build it with them and they can anticipate the final product because they feel part and parcel of it. And so the chances that they're going to be loyal customers to this product or service are much higher. So you actually get to create a funnel of customer retention and customer loyalty before you even have a product. And that is powerful. So don't undermine that. I know I have a lot of people who follow me on TikTok who say, I want to start something. I'm not too sure if people want it. I'm not sure if there's real demand for this. Well, here you go. You've got social media. Test it on any social media platform that you feel confident in and see how it works for you. And the last thing that social media is for the purposes of this video is that social media is a rich data collection tool. And I know a lot of people who use social media do not even think about the data because they're thinking, what's the point of me knowing what the data is? What does the data have to do with me? Well, if you are building a personal brand, if you're building a business, then you need to have facts and figures about your business. You're not simply using social media to play, you're using it for business. So you need to have reports, you need to have data that shows the progress of what you're doing, the effectiveness of what you're doing. The difference between social media and previous offline tools of collecting data is that social media has revolutionized the game in terms of data collection. So it is able to collect data that is specific to your activities online and your community and give you other perspectives of what your data looks like in different settings and in different environments. So you're getting all of this at the cost of just having a little bit of data on your phone, right? Whatever it costs you to have data and buy a phone, that's the cost that's how much you'd be spending to get insights, those insights of data that social media gives you so readily, right? And this is important. I think a lot of business owners and people who are building brands don't take that data seriously. And that data is extremely important because it gives you insights on your customers. In marketing and the evolution of marketing because of the advent of technology, what you're finding is that everything is becoming more competitive because it's more effective and more efficient. And what is happening is it's requiring businesses to do things at a faster pace, but also with more understanding of the consumer. So there's something called psychographics that we focus on in marketing, which is basically what is the impetus? What's the thing that makes the person want to buy or participate in something, right? And it's never things like they want to save money. It's always things that are more personal to them and their lived experiences. And what psychographics do is they not only change the dynamics of how we're going to serve the customer, but it also changes how we categorize customers. Because I can have similar desires to somebody who has less or more money than me, right? So then it changes our advertising strategy, changes our marketing strategy. It really changes everything. Right now, everybody's on a race to find the psychographics of their community, not the demographics. The demographics do not matter that much because they're quite general in their nature, but psychographics are specific. It helps you understand each customer and what they're living, how they're living, and what they desire and what they need. And this should help you produce better services, products, and offerings for the market. So you want this data, but you can also use this data for reporting purposes. If you want to communicate with anybody who wants to understand your business and how it moves on social media, you'll use these insights to show them how everything is working. So don't sleep on the fact that social media is a rich data collection tool. So now that we know what social media is, we can actually start to dive into the 3 strategies for success online, right? The first thing you have to think about when you're creating a social media strategy is, what am I doing it for? Am I doing it to create sales? Am I doing it to build brand? Am I doing it to build a community? Why am I online? Why is my brand or business online? That's the first question you have to ask yourself. And then you'll be able to craft strategies that make sense for you. But I'm about to share 3 strategies with you that people really don't talk about because they don't want you to win the way that they're winning. They'll tell you everything else but these 3. And they seem so simple, but they're actually really hard. Let's get into it very quickly. The first strategy is, if you want to win on social media, you have to collaborate. And I know you've heard me say this quite often, but when I say collaborate in 2025, I mean you need to create serious networks. The algorithms are prioritizing people who have other people vetting them. And those other people are not necessarily their community who's enjoying their content. It's other people on their level or on a level higher who vet them or support them and promote them, who allow those people to be seen. So let me give you a very basic example. If Brad Pitt followed me on TikTok and loved all of my content and he kept reposting my videos, that content on TikTok will be given a better chance at being seen by more people than any content that I create on my own or content that is just reposted by my followers. I don't know why a lot of social media platforms have decided to go this route, but this is how you're going to win. Whether you're on X, Instagram, TikTok, even YouTube, you need people on your level or higher to vet you by reposting you, promoting you, talking about you consistently, not just once off. And you will literally see a jump of 100 followers, 1,000 followers. That's how big the jump is, as opposed to 10, 20, 30 that you'd get when it's just your content reaching regular people. So keep that in mind. And if you're a business person, what does this look like? Maybe collaborating with celebrities then for your brand, instead of just having UGC promoters or smaller influencers, because the platforms aren't working in that way anymore. It's just something to think about. The second strategy that you can use to grow online is paid ads. Listen, these companies want to make money now. Tech giants are starting to compete with one another, and it's becoming an ego thing more than it is a thing about the people. So these guys are competing with one another based on 2 things: market share and return on investment. How much money are they making for their investors? Which means they are prioritizing activities that require people to pay to play, right? So if you're using paid ads in your content, in anything that you do in your campaigns, you will get more visibility and your account will grow much faster than somebody who's choosing to grow organically. So you want to use paid ads in your social media strategy. If you want to win, you really do have to pay to play this time around. And I would advise getting a paid ad specialist to help you so that you can get the results that you want. Don't just simply do it yourself. You're going to waste a lot of money and get very little results. The third strategy that you have to use on social media that a lot of people are undermining right now is storytelling, right? There are a lot of people on social media. I just told you that we've got 5.24 billion people in the world using social media. So it is noisy, it is competitive. People are scrambling for people's attention. Brands are scrambling for people's attention. And you need to get people's attention, right? So yes, you could collaborate and get people to promote you and repost you. Yes, you could get paid ads, but that doesn't necessarily keep people's attention. What keeps people's attention is storytelling. That's what will change whether somebody watches your video for 1 minute, 30 seconds, 2 seconds, 2 minutes. Storytelling is going to be what determines that. So make sure that you have a very big storytelling component in your content. And you have to do it in a way that is unique to you, that leverages on your strengths and what your community is seeking from you. But stories are what people want to hear, and they want to hear stories that are relevant to their own lived experiences and the things that are happening in their environments. Do not sleep on these 3 things. I bet you right now, if you just use these 3 strategies on your social media, you will win by March, not even March, by July this year, you will be thanking me in the comment section saying, I didn't know this is all I needed to do to win on social media in 2025. But truly, that's what you need to do. So if you want to participate in this and you want to start building your social media platforms successfully for 2025, comment by using hashtag social media pro in the comment section below. And we'll keep track of this for the next coming months to see who really implemented these things well and who's thriving from them. I'm also going to be doing a lot of that. Check out my social media platforms at @LeboLine_SA on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, on X, on literally every single platform. You'll be seeing me do a lot of that. So if you're feeling lost, just check my platforms and copy what I'm doing and it will work for you in your business. And you guys know that I give you tips already. So just go there to see the tips that I'm giving you. Tribe, this was a jam-packed session. I'm sure you need some time to digest all of this information and then implement it in your businesses or your hustles or your brand building activities. I cannot wait to see you build thriving businesses and brands. Until next time, you know how we do on this podcast. The only way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. Toodles. Hi, Tribe. This is a kind reminder to ask you to like, share, subscribe, and do the things that you need to do to get this podcast to reach the right people. We want to grow this community and elevate it to greater heights, and we need your help to do this. If you're not already subscribed to our newsletter, please click the link in our bio to subscribe so you can get all things marketing, brand building, and mindset in our weekly EIM newsletter. And don't forget to keep checking in our link when we have events and masterclasses. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
Follow me back to my nest. Label line with the podcast. Teach you lesson cause I got class. Label line with the impact. You be lying, that's a real fact. Come let me teach you a lesson. Come let me teach you a lesson. Label line with the tweets. Follow me back to my nest.